Creality K2 combo versus Flashforge AD5X. And the real question is whether the pricier one earns that gap once you're actually printing. Both promise multicolor and 600 millimeters per second, but speed claims and color systems don't always hold up the same way in daily use. And the cheaper machine isn't automatically the smarter buy if it leaves you tuning and wasting filament. By the end, you'll know which one fits you. Let's break it down. Let's start with the thing that actually decides this, which is whether you get clean parts without babysitting the machine. Both of these print well, and I want to be clear about that, because the K2 combo gets praised over and over for dimensional accuracy and clean layers, and the AD5X gets the same kind of praise for its first layers, which is usually where cheap machines fall apart. The difference is consistency. There's a real minority of K2 owners who fight the thing before it settles down, with adhesion problems, clogged extruders, and error messages that send you digging through forums. And while most people never see that, it shows up often enough that I won't call this printer plug and play. The Flashforge, for its part, has fewer of those stories. One owner running a small business put 1,000 hours on it in a few months and barely lost a print. I put about 1,000 hours on mine running my business, still on the original build plate, and I've only changed the nozzle once. Failed prints have been minimal, and most of those were my own slicer settings. One thing on the speed claim, since both boxes shout 600 millimeters per second. On the Flashforge, that number is the top travel speed, and the actual print range is 10 to 300. Neither machine prints at 600 all day, so I'd ignore that number on both. Speed matters less than how the color system behaves anyway, and that's where these two really split. The Creality's CFS is an enclosed dry box that holds 4 spools, tracks, humidity, and temperature, and you can chain up to 4 of them for 16 colors. That's a big deal if you live somewhere humid, because PETG and TPU absorb moisture and print badly when they do. The catch is spool size, since the rollers want full kilo spools, and small ones need printed adapters before they'll feed. The Flashforge IFS also does 4 colors and switches reliably, but the spools hang out in the open air, so a dry box is on you, and both burn a startling amount of filament purging on every color change. Owners of the AD5X mention prints where the purge pile weighs more than the part itself, which is worth knowing before you plan a color-heavy project. If flexible filament is part of your plan, the AD5X handles TPU right out of the gate, while TPU is the K2's weak spot. Getting from box to first print is where the Creality stumbles in a way I didn't expect. It's 95% assembled, and most people are printing within an hour. That part is true, but it only connects to 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, and if your router broadcasts both bands together, people have burned literal days trying to get it online, some of them ending up printing off a flash drive with the camera and remote monitoring dead. That's a modern feature set gated behind a connection problem, and it's the complaint I'd take most seriously here. The Flashforge is simpler, up and calibrated in 20 or 30 minutes, though the touchscreen needs a firm press instead of a light tap, and that annoys people. Software is a wash. Look, neither slicer is loved. Creality Print draws complaints about bugs and clunky multicolor handling, and Flashforge ships a skinned older version of Orca that lags behind the real thing. On size, the K2 gives you a 260mm cube versus 220 on the AD5X, which sounds small until you're printing a helmet piece or a big functional part. It's also a much heavier machine at roughly 18 kilos, so it needs a dedicated spot. And in a bedroom or shared office, the enclosed Creality with its servo motors is the quiet one, while the Flashforge is open frame and honestly loud, especially during purges. So where does the money go? The Creality costs quite a bit more, and that gap buys you the enclosure, the heated dry box for filament, the camera and AI monitoring, the bigger build area, and a much quieter machine you can run next to you. The Flashforge is the cheaper one by a wide margin, and it spends its money on the core stuff, a solid Core XY frame, working 4-color switching and TPU support, while leaving out the enclosure. You can buy the panel kit, but you have to print the frame yourself in ABS, which you can't do well without an enclosure, so most owners just build a tent around it instead. Here's the call. For most people watching this, I'd take the Flashforge AD5X, because it does the one thing that matters most, printing part after part without drama, and it costs a lot less while doing it. That said, if you're printing in a bedroom or a shared office where noise ends the conversation, the Creality is the quiet one, and the enclosure and dry box earn the extra money, especially in a humid house. But if flexible filament is on your list, or you just want the machine online and working in half an hour, the Flashforge wins that outright. And I wouldn't buy the K2 until Creality fixes that Wi-Fi mess. And you? Which one would you pick? Let me know in the comments. Links below in the description.